Well, hello. Welcome to When Wisdom Talks. I'm Alisha.
And I'm Kadesha.
And I'm Naomi, bringing up the rear and keeping the party going. Welcome to When Wisdom Talks with your girls, Alisha, Kadesha, and myself. And we're so excited to be here with you. We are the Wisdom on the Wall trio. And of course, you know, we love spending time with you every single Thursday right here on When Wisdom Talks. And so, hey, we got a great show again planned for you this week. And let me just tell you, y'all are in for a treat. And I hope you are ready. And we're asking you to prepare yourselves to hear some inspiring stories and testimonies. I'm excited to hear what our guests have to say. And we want to welcome all of you. If you are a newcomer, make sure you leave us a comment in the chat so we can give you a shout out and let you know how much we appreciate all of you for joining us. And then thank you for all of our faithfuls who come back every single week to hang out with us. We love all of you. Thank you so much. Hugs from the Wisdom on the Wall trio. We appreciate you and we thank you. And so, of course, this episode and all other episodes are sponsored by Wisdom on the Wall and Be Inspired Global Network. And our mission is to empower all of you to live better and wiser through engaging discussions, fun activities, and inspiring special guest interviews. So with that, I'm going to kick it on over to Kadesha.
Thank you, Miss Naomi. Everybody, we are at the end of the month. So yes, we have a pretty awesome show for this evening. I'm really excited because as I was thinking about it, I'm like, we have some pretty dope topics. Like, we touch on things that people may not, well, you definitely ain't gonna hear about it in church, but you may not like catch this on a regular show. And so we hope that you can feel our excitement and feel our unique and our different flavor. Tonight is no different. We have, well, of course, the three of us are your special guests, but we have two additional special guests, and we're going to be talking about the correctional system. So we have actually two correctional officers, and one has a unique story. Well, both of them unique stories, but one has an even more unique story with someone that she shares a life with who was incarcerated. And first and foremost, we are all impacted and affected by this thing called incarceration in one form or fashion. You may have never stepped foot in a jail. You may never have been incarcerated yourself, but it impacts you, your family, definitely the community and the world that you live in. So we're looking forward to this conversation. At least I am. And so I hope that you'll be able to gain and glean something. Like, please stay tuned. Don't go stage left on us, even if you feel like you can't connect. I'm telling you, something that will be said will give you some wisdom nuggets. You know how we do every week. So before we get into that, let me just tell you that. So this theme this week is we're celebrating National Correctional Officers Week. Did y'all even know there was a thing? Yes, we need to celebrate everybody, because if it wasn't for them, we wouldn't have water in our prison system. Okay. So that's what we're celebrating. That's what we're talking about tonight. But before we do that, we got to ask you a few things, do us a few favors. Go ahead and share and like the page. Yes, yes, yes. If you're not following us already on Instagram, go ahead and follow us at When Wisdom Talks. Definitely subscribe to our YouTube page, When Wisdom Talks. You can hit the subscribe button and then you'll get notifications when we go live. Of course, if you haven't already liked our Facebook page, go ahead and like that. But most importantly, it takes 2.5 seconds to share the show. Thanks, Alisha, for my support, my help. But go ahead and share the show. As Naomi mentioned, as we're talking to you, talk back to us in the comments and go ahead and do hashtag When Wisdom Talks. We are spreading wisdom, y'all, because there's enough foolery going around the world. So we're going to spread wisdom. So we need you to help us to do that by doing hashtag When Wisdom Talks. If you want to learn more about us, the three of us, or Wisdom on the Wall, which is our nonprofit, you can do so at wisdomonthewall.com. Yes, yes, yes. So I guess it's we almost, what time is it? We ready for our next segment? So yeah, I'm gonna throw it right on over to Miss Alisha.
Awesome. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Well, this is our time for Tell Miss Something Good. Tell me something good. Yes, this is the time where we're going to share some good stuff with you. It may be a good story, something personally that we did that was really good. The theme underlying is just going to be some good stuff, especially in all that's going on right now. We need some good stories. So I'm going to go ahead and kick us off. This cute little video, it's been viral, and this is an updated version of it, which I really enjoyed, and I hope it brings you a little laughter like it did for me. So let's take it away.
If confidence is key in baseball, this little guy's got a bright future. That's Ben Sadlowski with the Manteca T-ball Cubs, busting out just about every dance move in the book on his walk up to the plate. His mom, Monica, says the season-ending show was no surprise.
Every last game, we do a walkout song for each player. I wasn't expecting him to do all that, but it's not uncommon for him. That's his own thing. He's just a goofy guy.
So we had to ask, where did Ben learn those moves?
I mean, I'm kind of goofy myself, so he might have picked it up from me, but it definitely was not his father. I can assure you that.
And it wasn't just Ben's boogie that was a hit. His performance made even more impressive with a single to left field. And while there's no scorekeeping in T-ball, Monica says the comments she's received on social media prove Ben's brilliant show made millions of people feel like a winner.
And everybody was just like, man, I was having a really bad day, and that just made my day so much better. And I'm like, man, that's awesome.
Oh my goodness. I love it. Oh, when I saw this the other day on one of my favorite morning shows, I just laughed so hard. It was just unbelievable. When he did that pump move, I was just like, but I thought it was the cutest thing when I saw this updated video where they actually interviewed the mother, and she pointed out, he came up with that himself, because initially the first thought is like, did anybody put him up to do that? But like she said, they each come out with their own song. And when he came out to I Don't Want to Be a Player No More, I was like, no, he didn't. It's like, all right, take you back to those days. But it was just so cute. I'm like, oh, but then the other thought is he doing that to distract everybody because he can't hit the ball? But then he goes and hit the ball. I was like, oh, man. So that's my Tell Me Something Good tonight. I hope it brought a smile, a little laughter to everybody's evening.
He's the total package. He had it all, the moves and the talent.
Oh my God. And it was so funny. His mom, as she's taping him, she's cracking up in the background. It was, oh gosh, I loved it. Anyway.
I love it. That definitely was the jam back in the day. Okay, I definitely was bumping to that in my
Oh,
vehicle. I'm trying to think. I'm trying to think what car I had back in the day,
oh,
but
good.
nonetheless, I was jamming. I love it.
Absolutely. Brought back those memories.
Yeah, he was cute for sure. Um, so my tell me something good is so about a week and a half, maybe 2 weeks ago, I decided that I was at least going to watch the news one time a week, right? So I'm at least aware. I intentionally, we both, my husband and I, intentionally don't watch the news just because, we love our peace and we maintain our peace by not allowing that to be super duper intrusive in our lives. But nonetheless, after, recent events, I said, well, I'm at least watch something. So I had turned on some news like late night, and like as it gets later, they have different shows. And one of the shows that came on that I hadn't been aware of was called Matter of Fact with Soledad O'Brien. And it was super duper late, but I was like, it was a really good show. So apparently, I guess she does this show. I'm assuming it's weekly. Again, it's called Matter of Fact with Soledad O'Brien. And so she was highlighting different stories around the world. And so this particular evening, she highlighted two stories that I want to make mention to because it goes in aligns with what we're talking about tonight. And so one of the stories, there was a formerly incarcerated woman who recognized that when women come out of prison, they have a hard time finding housing. And so she is now the executive director. I think they're in New Orleans, if I'm not mistaken, but the executive director of a nonprofit, and they partnered with another ministry. And so they have housing for women who are in transition. And the housing is bad, y'all. It looked like it was staged, so it's like the furniture is picture perfect. And so of course they're not just helping them with home, but they're helping them, with career building, resumes, and things of that nature. And so it just was so powerful to see that a woman who used to be a part of the system is now helping those who are coming out of the system. So that was story number one. Story number two, did I cry? I think I held it together. But there was a gentleman who had been arrested, and he had been arrested for murder, actually, when he was young. And the story was about how the police officer, who happened to be a white guy, arrested the black gentleman, rightfully so, but how they built a bond and a 20, 30-year relationship post him being, how after him coming out of prison. And actually not even after, the police officer saw something in this guy, so stayed in contact with him. And so, of course, the man's life is totally changed now, right? So he's older, he's wiser, he's doing things in the community. But the police officer would constantly encourage him, set up letters. I'm not sure if he did any visits, but it's like they're both grown now and they both still have this long lasting relationship. And it's like, imagine, it just was so needed for me at the time because, we hear so many stories of quite opposite, right? And police officers not caring and not being sympathetic, but they have a real friendship. They were at dinner together with their family. It's like, this is the guy who arrested me, but this is also the guy who saw me transition and saw me change and evolve over time. And so it was just a really beautiful story to see these two men from, complete different walks of life, but have this friendship after an arrest. It was crazy. And so, yeah, that was all on Matter of Fact. Again, that's the TV show with Soledad O'Brien. So that's my tell me something good. And yeah, I'm sticking to it.
Wow, those are both powerful stories, especially the one with the well, no, both of them, not one especially, but when you mentioned the one with the women and the housing, that is huge because again, when men and women, are released, that's one of the biggest challenges, a big impediment. You need an address in terms of being able to,
That's
get
right.
a job and so on and so forth. So to see that not only is she providing housing, but housing to the point that it looks really good, to the point where it looks like they've staged the house. So that
Right.
is wonderful. And then to see the relationship between the police officer and the person he arrested. I mean, just think about not only his life, but impacting the lives of others who watch that. And I'm thinking especially about children, because when you see all the news reports and the things that happen with police officers and in the communities, just to see a positive relationship with a law enforcement officer, that's powerful. So wonderful stories.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for that.
Yeah, right. I know the later the night, usually the stories are the worst, but that's good to hear that she's doing something positive.
Yeah.
Good beans.
I totally agree. I think those are the kinds of stories that people need to hear, especially when people are transitioning from out of the prison system, being able to get reacclimated to living in a community again.
Yeah.
That's important, to have that confidence, to feel like, okay, I can do this and I can rebuild my life. So those are the kind of stories we need to hear, for sure.
Yes.
So thank you for sharing that. Well, I'm kind of gonna piggyback off of what Alisha did and show a funny video, but this one had me rolling. I don't know. So if are any of you pet lovers? I know, Kadesha, you're still on the fence about whether or not you're gonna get a fur baby. Alisha, I know you're like, nah, not happening.
I love it, but just trying to get one is another story.
Yeah. And of course my children want one, but my husband's like, I don't think so, because I don't need another mouth to feed, which I understand. But I enjoy watching videos about the fur baby. So this particular video is hilarious. The struggle is real with this dog, and you'll see what I mean in a second. So let me just go ahead and play it for y'all. I could not stop laughing. Here we go. I was rolling. I said, poor baby, the struggle was real. You could not tell him that little ice cream sandwich was not real. In his mind, it was. And his only objective was to get that ice cream off of wherever that was. That thing had me rolling so hard. I love those little videos like that on Facebook and Instagram. Even though they're a few seconds long, sometimes it's just the laugh that you need for the day. So I don't have a fur baby, but I sure would like one. And that kind of motivated me to want to get one. Maybe a little, when the kids get a little bit bigger, and then, they can help take care of them, really, because that's what it's about. Getting them to help. And it don't land on me and my husband.
I love you. Oh my God. The poor thing was about to break a tooth trying to get that.
Listen, he was on a mission to get that ice cream sandwich. Okay.
Oh my goodness. But you talk about that being like another child. My neighbor has a new, I think I had shared before, a beagle. I shared with you too. And I see them out there with this dog, and it has little long ears, and it gets tired because it has little short legs, and it gets so tired when they're trying to walk him, and he lays down on the sidewalk, and they got to pick him up. And when I'm coming and pulling into my driveway, I just laugh, and I tell her, every time I want a dog, I just see y'all with that dog, and I'm like, I'm good. I'm good.
Real. It is. It really is. And you do have to have patience if you're going to have a pet, because, it's that you get over the honeymoon phase and then it gets real. Like, okay, this is another being in my house that I have to take care of. Yeah.
That's where they are right now. It is real now. The honeymoon is over.
That's funny. Jean had me pet sitting, and sorry, Jean, if you're listening. I'm like, I almost forgot Chopper was at home, because when I leave, I'm like, I'm going for the day. So I'm like, oh shoot, y'all, I have to get home. The dog needs to, but thankfully he's not a pup. So he knows how to hold himself. And then, we take him out when we get home. But it was a whole, let me think about, you have to consider another fur baby when you have, when you have a pet. So they are like children. Like, you got to make sure they eat and make sure they go to the bathroom and make sure they're not suffocating. And, it's like, it's real. So Yes, we had the fur. We had the fur baby. We had Chapo for like what, 5 days? It felt like the longest 5 days, honey. I'm glad she back. I'm glad she back.
I have a grand dog, actually. My oldest Ariana, she has a dog, and he comes over, and oh Lord. So I'm like, as soon as he come over, I'm like, he got to go. Because he starts scraping and grabbing on things and biting on stuff. No, you got to go. I love you for 30 minutes. Now you got to go.
See ya.
My fur grandbaby got to go.
Oh, that is too funny. Wow. I love it. Wow. Well, this was good, ladies. Some great stories, some laughter, some redemption stories. Good one. So with that, we're going to turn it all over to you, Kadesha. Take us into this next segment.
Everybody say yeah. I'm going to start. I'm going to play one of Alicia's cards and start with some stats. But I want to. There's a movie. So one, if you haven't seen the movie, you need to see the movie Just Mercy with Michael B. Jordan. Help me, Lord. And so it's really good because it is based off of a true story, and it's based off of an attorney named Brian Stevenson. And so Brian Stevenson really put a lot of time, and still to this day puts a lot of time into equal justice and making sure everybody has the right representation in terms of attorneys. And so in this particular movie, he helped a man who was on death row get released after I can't remember how many years, but he sat on death row for years. And so so Brian Stevenson's organization is called Equal Justice Initiative. And so EJI for short, I just want to give you some stats, has done some research, and this is actually a little bit dated. So it's more than this, y'all. But it says 6.5 million adults. So we're going to say over 6.5 million adults have an immediate family member currently in jail or in prison. Of course, unfortunately, that number is a lot higher in communities of color, right? And it says Black people are 50% more likely than white people to have a family member who is formerly or currently incarcerated, and 3 times more likely to have a family member who has spent at least 10 years in prison. Like, just think about 10 years of your life. Like, where were you at 10 years ago? Where are we going to be, Lord willing, at 10 years from now? And imagine somebody being behind bars for that long, right? And so when I opened up in the beginning, I said that we're all affected by it because we are. Like, my family's going through it. I know many families that are going through it. And it really is not just that person who's in prison. Like, it's really the whole family who was on this journey together. And so we have some phenomenal ladies who work in the system, and they're just going to talk to us, give us some encouragement, give us some wisdom, share some light, right? And so we first up, I guess I'll do the introduction and then we'll do the video, Naomi. First up, we have Staff Sergeant Tanisha Thomas, who has been with the Delaware Department of Correction for the past 14 years. She's a native of Philly. Yes, and she was inspired from a young age to join a rewarding law enforcement department. And so on March 2008, she joined the Delaware Department of Correction, which is the largest law enforcement agency. Their mission is to protect the public by supervising adult offenders through safe and humane services, programs, and facilities. That's powerful. I've never really looked at the mission, but reading that mission is very powerful. And so she is currently at a level 4 work release facility at the Plummer Center, which is located in Wilmington, Delaware. Go Wilmington. And her goal, I love this. I gotta say this. Her goal is to one day become a warden of the correctional facility where she can ensure safety to the community and rehabilitation. Come on with the rehabilitation to the offender population. And this must be a quote that she loves. Progress is impossible without change. And those who cannot change their minds cannot change anything. And that's by Henry Steele Comaker, if I'm saying that correctly. So we have a intro video, and then we'll bring her right out. Hello. We're gonna ask you. Oh, there you go. Go ahead, Naomi. Yes, Naomi can hear you.
How y'all doing tonight?
Hey, Sarge.
Can y'all hear me? Can y'all hear me
Yes.
good? I just want y'all to know y'all got me cheesing real hard right now. Like when y'all was reading that little bio that I put together in like 3 days, not too many. Yeah. I was just smiling because it sounded real good. And somebody sitting in the audience listening to that, you know what I mean? You know, they want to know more about what's going on with Staff Sergeant Thomas at the end of the day. A woman in corrections. So
Yes.
I'm honored to be a guest. I want to thank Miss Adams for inviting me here. A couple days ago, she invited me. You know, she's an awesome facilitator over at the Plumber. She does money management for the guys over there, trying to teach them about finances, something that we can all learn from. But I just want to thank her and give her, give it back to her for, allowing me to be a part of, y'all show tonight. I appreciate it. Thank you, Miss Adams.
Wow. Well, we're happy to have you because, and I don't even know, many people probably don't even know that Alisha works in the prison like several days a week, the men and the women, right? So for us, we see the inmates as their people, like they're people, right?
Yes.
We all make mistakes. And so we're looking forward to hearing from you and your experience. So let's just hop right on in. So you've been doing this now, 14 years, correct?
14 years. I went in 2008, and just like everybody else, you're looking for a solid foundation, trying to find your niche and a career, trying to figure out what you want to do. So 14 years in, still filling out applications while I'm going through the training, while I'm, on a job, trying to figure out if corrections was really for me. Because one thing about corrections is definitely not for everybody. It takes a special person to be away from your family. It takes you away from your family. You got the swing shifts. You're gonna miss a lot of holidays, a lot of birthdays, a lot of special moments when it comes to family. So that's one of the things you make a lot of sacrifices. So one of the things when I decided to take on that job, I had to ask myself if I was willing to make that sacrifice to be able to give up a normal life.
Wow.
It took me about 5 years to get on 8 to 4 shift, but I still had like Mondays and Tuesdays off. So at the end of the day, it was just one of those things where, you got the great benefits. Everybody talk about the good benefits from the state. The pay you can make, you can write your own check. But when you're close knit, I had a young child at home, that I was raising. He was 3 years old when I entered the department. So at the end of the day, it was just one of those situations. I come home, my son is asleep, getting up. I can't be up to get him up for school. It was just, it was a struggle. But at the end of the day, it all worked out. It all worked out. I'm still here 14 years later, promoted through the ranks. It hasn't been easy, but it's been a rewarding journey for me. I needless to say.
Wow.
So, absolutely.
You better go ahead and talk to us.
Yeah, well, y'all gonna get a lot of talking. You hear? Y'all should have just gave me my show tonight by myself because I love to talk. Y'all had to shut me up or put me on mute or something. Cause y'all gonna get some conversation from me.
I love it. You was dropping jewels though, like sacrifice. Like how many of us, would be willing to make the level of sacrifice that you made, So that's huge. Go ahead, Alisha.
No, I love it. I'm enjoying myself already. But you mentioned the sacrifice, but obviously there's some rewards in what you're doing because obviously you wouldn't have still been doing it after 14 years. Can you share some of the rewarding aspects when it comes to your position?
Absolutely. I would just say, just giving back, giving back to the community, being out there, community policing, being out there, seeing these guys at the supermarkets, seeing these guys with their families at the mall. They did their time for their crimes and stuff. And them coming up to me, Miss T, I'm doing good. This is my family. I got my own business. I'm here to see my son go off on his prom. Just real, very, very rewarding. And actually them not coming back, knowing that you go in there every day to make a change. I go to work. If I can save one person, I know my job is done. You know, you got some guys in there that it's just a revolving door for them at the end of the day. But if I can make a difference in one person's life, I know that I've done just and I've done my job. So at the end of the day, just being able to make a change and knowing that you make a change when you out here with your family at the mall and they run down on you, ain't got to worry about somebody trying to, you know, sucker punch you or rob you or something like that. You know, you did right by these guys. You treated them, you know, human. You treated them with dignity and respect. You treated them like you would treat your own family that may have been incarcerated. So at the end of the day, I never thought that I was above anybody that come between, you know, come through those doors, just knowing that, you know, it could be you in that position. You never know what situation you may be faced with at the end of the day. I'm sure we've all had loved ones that may have been incarcerated or family members, and you want your family members to be treated accordingly and respected. And also, you know, the loved ones calling in, inquiring about their family members. You don't want nobody being disrespectful to you, you know, because at the end of the day, we got a job to do. You know, so it's definitely rewarding when I'm at the gas station pumping my gas and they be like, Miss T, let me pay for your gas. And I'm like, nah, I'm cool. No, I'm good. I can pay for my own gas. I appreciate the gesture, but I'm good. But it's a blessing. It's a blessing.
Wow. Oh my goodness. I love it. You know,
if you don't want them to pay for your gas, I take a full tank, okay? Because it's
right now,
I'm almost knocking on $100.
I can understand that with the
oh my gosh.
I'm kidding.
I love it. But you know what? One of the things I was sharing with Naomi and Kadesha as we were talking about this and thinking about who to bring on, and you know, you immediately were one that just popped up for me. And for me, as I told them, it was about the respect that the inmates have for you. Like it's just, you don't see it everywhere with all the different COs out there. So can you speak to that? Like, what is it that causes them to respect? And I think you may have hit on it a little bit, but I want you to address that. Like, what is it that causes them to respect you so much the way they do?
I guess when I started with the department, one thing they told you and taught you was a no is something that you can take back. When you tell somebody yes, it's kind of hard to take back. So I kind of like stood on those principles, being consistent, being firm, fair, and consistent. And one thing about me, if I can do something for you within the policies and procedures, I'm going to do it. If I can't do it, I'm going to tell you right then and there, no. And that's it. I mean, it's just simple as that. But being consistent, that consistency, letting them know, hey, Miss T, you know, my phone numbers are not working. Being available, being accessible for those guys. You know, my mom wasn't able to bring my clothes this week, you know, and it's summertime, the drop-offs. I know I missed that opportunity to get my clothing exchange. Is it possible if you can help me out? Knowing that they can count on you and knowing that they can depend on you is one of the big things that I stand on. It's just being consistency, whether it's no or whether it's yes. Whatever it is, they're going to know if it's coming from me.
Wow. That word consistency. I'm telling y'all, she dropping the jewels. She is dropping the jewels. I love the fact that earlier you had mentioned, you know, not being above anybody. And I think it's so important to remember that we don't need to judge anybody for the actions or, you know, the misactions, the mistakes that they have made, right? So, again, kudos to you for just giving the respect, because I believe when you give respect, you get it back. Kim, because she treats them like a human and not like a thing. I know that's right.
Thanks,
so, oh, that must be, talking like a future warden. You have some people on here giving you shout outs.
I got some people on here, you know, I would have been gave them the link, but you know, I'm like sometimes better late than never, but I still got some fans on here. I got some supporters on here. Absolutely. Hopefully this is not my first time on y'all show, because I'm gonna bring them all on. I'm gonna bring them all
Oh my goodness. I love it. So what do you wish the inmates knew when it came to like COs? Like, what do you want them to know about your role, your responsibilities, what you can't do, what you can do? Like, you know, what is it that you want them to know?
One thing I do want them to know is that everybody is not the same. That's not even just COs. We just talking about just being in the real world, period. You know, whether you're in the executive world, whether you're in law enforcement, whether you're an officer out here patrolling the neighborhoods, you can't treat everybody the same from a bad experience you may have encountered with someone else. So all officers are not the same, whether you're a law enforcement officer, whether you're a nurse, whether you're a doctor. We've all had bad experiences. So we got to get away from just saying law enforcement as a whole. We're talking about just people in general. You know, you got to treat people accordingly. I treat people accordingly until they show me differently. And I'm sure you guys do as well. If somebody showed me, you know the saying, you only got one time to show me who you really are. You won't get a second time to burn me. And that's you know, that's what I live by. I live by that. You know, you don't get too many times to play in my face. I'm gonna let you know if you're doing it, and that'll be the first and last time. So just, you know, just giving people chances. Giving people chances. You know, you might have had a bad experience with Sergeant Smith, but Staff Sergeant Thomas is not that person. And don't compare me to that person. I don't want to be compared to nobody other than myself. You know, unless I've showed you different.
That is good. You know, as I'm thinking about it, and, you know, I'm thinking about you walking through the halls and, you know, interacting with people and hearing the different stories. What word of advice, if we have a young person, or it doesn't even have to be a young person, somebody who is doing things on the criminal side, what word of advice could you give to them to hopefully turn them the other way based on what you've seen and based on your experience in the correctional facilities?
I mean, if I can be real, the pandemic started back in 2020, about 2 years ago, give or take. And we've all experienced some hardships during that tenure. Loved ones dying. We've had offenders, fathers and mothers die while they were incarcerated, and they could not be there to give their final respects or pay their respects. It's real inside there. These streets are dangerous right now. If I can give one word of wisdom to them, it would be just listen to your parents. Listen to whether it's a mentor that you got out there that's trying to keep you on the right path. Is real. Jail is not for everybody, but I've seen just the pattern from fathers, from mothers to their kids. It's like a generational a curse, if I may. Just trying to, you know, find somebody that you can hold on to that can steer you in that right direction. It's never too late for you to change your life. As long as you're willing to receive and accept that help from somebody that's willing to get you on that right path, just know it's never too late. It's people out here like myself, and it's people out here like you ladies that's out here making a difference. You got to hold on to people that's willing to put that effort into you, wanting you to be successful out here.
I'm like, so when you writing your book? Because I'm just saying, you dropping jewels and like, yeah, I feel like you already got a fan base. Speaking as a retired police officer, I take my hat off to T. She takes her position very seriously and puts her all into it. I love it.
Thank you.
I love it.
Thanks, Kim. Absolutely.
You know, one of the things that Alisha says is, and it's, you know, very popular, is, you know, if you're, and I'm about to butcher it, but basically, if you're passionate about what you do, it feels like you never work a day in your life. And, you know, just by interacting with you, I can just tell how passionate you are about what you do and who you know what I mean? And like, that makes me feel good about those who are in your company, right? Yeah. Because that's a whole nother concern that people may have with people who are incarcerated, like, well, dang, how they getting treated on the inside. Yes. But knowing that there are people like you, you know, angels that God has placed on the inside, it just makes us and those watching, I'm sure, feel very good. So thank you for that.
Absolutely.
So there may be some people. Oh,
no, go ahead.
There may be some people watching who maybe were thinking about being a CO, right? So what would you say to them?
I would say to them, honestly, just like I was 14 years ago, you take on a job, you take on a career, and you don't know what to expect. You know, every day is unpredictable. Even 14 years in, I don't know what kind of day I'm going to have from day to day in corrections. Every day is unpredictable. You come in there with an open mind. You got to learn how to not pass judgment on people. And that was one of the things for me, you know, treating everybody accordingly. regardless of their charges, regardless of, I mean, we're not there to punish them. The judge has already rendered their time on them, giving them their sentence. But at the end of the day, we still need to treat these people with dignity, respect, regardless of what they may be incarcerated for. And I know sometimes people get caught up in the, they here for this, they here for that, and you want to judge them. I've learned that a long time, that you have to learn how to, being in law enforcement, not be judgmental and being able to just suspend that. Again, I take it back to being firm, fair, and consistent, and just, expecting the unknown on a daily. You can go in there one day and it's just a normal 8 to 5, and you go in there the next day and we got a hostage situation. You understand what I'm saying? So you just never know. This is what we signed up for. This is what we get paid for. Everybody is not cut out to do this job, but at the end of the day, you go in there, you be firm, you be fair, you be consistent. Don't do anything for these guys that you can't take back, because once you do, they got you. So that's what I live by.
Wow, that's good.
Years, and I've never compromised my integrity. My integrity may have been questioned within the 14 years of me being there, but I've never done anything unethical for these guys or ever compromise my integrity.
Wow. No, okay. Now you're going to have me ask this. This is probably a question that many people have. We all watch the news. We may watch it more than one time, like Kadesha does. But I think everybody saw the story with the correctional officer in Alabama who, helped that person escape.
Yes.
I mean, what would you say? I guess let me phrase it this way, the positive way of it. What would you say to anyone who is working closely with inmates? So, I mean, you could share your comment on that situation if you want, but more from the standpoint of what would you say to somebody who works closely with inmates to not put themselves in that type of situation?
Yeah, I've seen the news. I really don't watch the news like that, but you hear these stories, but at the end of the day, it's a prison term that they use, and those that work inside the prison know, down in the duck. And if you guys ever heard of it, if not, I'm going to explain it to you. It's real simple. Staff manipulation. These inmates have 24/7 to sit and watch you do your job. And some of these guys can probably do our jobs better than the actual CO that's in that prison. They're watching them. They watching for the women to come in. They calling you honey, baby, boo, everything but the name that's on your tag. You're not addressing it. They watching. They're trying to see how far they can get with you. You give them an inch, they take a yard. You give them an inch and you don't do nothing about it. Tomorrow they coming back. They going to be, what's going on? How's your family? How's your kids? They may not even know that you have kids, but they going to start plotting on you. And once they got that bait in you, next thing you know is, you beautiful. I know what kind of car you drive, how you get that car. You need a little bit of money. Can you bring me a sandwich in? It's like one of those situations. And next thing you know, they got you hooked. And once you get hooked, boom, then they start reeling you in. And they reeling you in. And once that hook you can't get that hook out because they got you. You done did something for them. And once you do something, you done. You got to continue doing it. Because I tell you one thing, as soon as you do, they're going to tell they cellies. They're going to tell everybody on the pod, Miss Sharon behind on her bills. And she just bought me a sandwich in and my peoples met up with her and gave her $50 at the gas station. They're going to tell all your business. And then IA is looking at you, questioning you about it. And they know you guilty because they hear the inmate talking on the recorded line that Miss Sharon is meeting his folk at Sunoco gas station with a hoagie. And they giving them $50. And then next week is going to be cigarettes. And next week, he calling you on your little burnout phone. I mean, I can talk about this forever, but it's one of those things, when you come in there with low self-esteem, when you don't have boundaries in place, these offenders know that. When you walking around not looking confident, doing your security checks, you walking with your head down, looking scared, they watching you. They watching your every move. They don't have nothing else to do. So try not to be manipulated. Wow. And if you feel like somebody's trying to manipulate you, you need to start reporting them. Write them up. Document. You understand what I'm saying? So that way when something do come up, oh no, I documented that. I wrote this report up on this offender. But once they get you, they got you. And once they got you, you done. Y'all see the news. They having sex with CEOs. You know, they bringing them cell phones in, they smuggling drugs. You can Google corrupt CEOs and y'all see what's going on. Y'all don't need me to tell y'all this, but I'm gonna spit a little bit for y'all. I mean, I already been talking for about 45 minutes, but I'm enjoying the show.
Well, we enjoy you, and you know what? I'm serious. I am serious about this book. So you take that, that's my seed. My seed I'm planting, and so I'm looking forward to more stories and more inspiration from Sergeant T. Miss T, is that what they call you?
They call me Miss T. They call me TT. You know, whatever. It's all
But
in
no,
one.
we appreciate you joining us and dropping your jewels with us, and hopefully maybe we'll have you back here in the near future.
Absolutely. As long as I'm available, Miss Alisha reaches out to me. You know, if you ladies need me for anything, just reach out. She has my contact information. I'm just grateful and humble and appreciative for the opportunity to be on your platform with such beautiful women as you.
Thank you so much. Well, we appreciate you. Continue doing what you're doing. We'll be definitely lifting you up in prayer for sure.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Appreciate it.
Wow.
My words exactly.
What do you say after that? Wow.
That's good. Well, without further ado, we still got our girl in the back.
Yes, she's there. Oh yes. Let me go ahead and play the intro, okay? So we can bring her in. All right, here we go.
Wow. Hey, Pastor Tanya, how are you?
I am wonderful. Hi, everybody.
Yes, thank you so much for being here. Like Alisha,
this is
amazing. Naomi and I thought of you instantly. We was like, she would be excellent. So let me just tell them a little bit about you. First of all, I'm looking at this thing like, how you have all this going on? So you are the wife of Pastor Tracy Simpson. You have 6 beautiful kids. And get this, y'all. She is a T-mom, okay? We're going to T-mom to 12 grandkids. Y'all know we get too creative with these grandma names, okay? And she has a ministry. She's been pastoring Healing Hands Deliverance Ministry since 2012. Criminal justice degree. Come on here. And you are working in forensic hospital, yes?
Yes.
Okay,
yes.
And what do you do in the forensic
hospital?
Correctional officer, and she has a women's ministry called Why Women Cry, and you guys do monthly outreaches.
Yes.
Well, welcome to the show, my dear.
Thank you.
Yes. So we want to hop right in because I know you have a beautiful love story. And so tell us about that. Tell us that story. Tell us a bit about you.
Excuse me. I was fine up until I got on. Okay. So I actually met my husband in 2015. I started working at just a correctional institution where he is. But I worked all of the jails out in Jessup. And at the time I was a commissary rep. So we were delivering commissary. I wasn't a correctional officer. I was just one of the reps that came in, delivered commissary. And my husband chased me for like 6 months. And I kept telling him, like, I'm not going to lose my job. Like, we're not doing this. I'm not losing my job. So, I really was green to some of the things he was doing. He used to tell me, well, I'm not going to afford a commissary if you don't come in this building. And I said, okay, well, you're going to be hungry. I don't really care. And I really didn't pay him too much attention. So it wasn't until one of my coworkers came to me and he's like, you don't see that he like you? And I'm like, I'm not here for that. And he's like, you need to give him a chance. And I'm like, that's not going to happen. But the funny thing was I had at the time a cousin that was there as well as an uncle that was there. And when he found out that we were related, he kind of started going in at my cousin like, I like her, like, you know her and I like her and, I need you to get us together. So once I got injured, this is what most people don't know. It wasn't until I got injured and I wasn't able to go back to work that me and my husband started a relationship. Like we started talking to see where it was gonna go. And I know it was nobody but God, because I was just like, Lord, you are not giving me another man. Like I'm trying to divorce this man and get rid of him, and you're trying to send somebody else. I know you're not doing this. But I would tell you the coincidences were kind of like, okay, this has got to be God. Our birthday is a day apart. I am February 13th, he's February the 14th, okay? And then we realized a year after we got married, when you add our birthdays together, it makes our anniversary, which is March the 27th. And I was like, okay, Jesus, like you are up to something. We've been together for 5 years. We've been married for 4. And when I tell you, nobody but God is all I can say. My husband is so humble, it's ridiculous. He is just as sweet as he want to be. He's not like most guys that I've dealt with. He actually loves God. Like I don't have to try to force him. I don't have to. He calls me and say, "Listen, this is what we read today. This is what we doing. We going on a fast." I mean, and I'm just like, "Wait a minute. I'm not used to a man that know how to take charge." But I love it because this is what I needed. Someone who already knew God, and I didn't have to try to get you affiliated with him. So, we have been and thanks be unto God who gives us the victory. My husband is on his way home. So I'm excited about that as well.
Wow. So what made you commit to the journey? Like what in you was like, you know what, I can do this, I can move forward with this? Because really, I mean, really it's a long distance relationship, okay? And
Yep.
a lot of people can't handle that. So
Well,
what made you commit?
we were like at the time I lived probably like 10 or 15 minutes from the institution, so I was able to go visit. And that's another thing people don't know. I wrote the commissioner, I wrote the warden, I wrote everybody that I needed to write to get permission to go in. So I didn't just say, oh, I'm just gonna go see him. I didn't do any of that. I followed the protocol. I did what I was supposed to do. Even when I became a correctional officer, I had to go to the training academy. Before I accepted the job, I said, listen, my husband is incarcerated. If this is going to be a problem, then I'm not going to take this job. And they was like, you really wouldn't take this job? And I said, yeah, because I know that my marriage is ordained by God. I did a lot of praying. He did a lot of praying. And I was like, we need to make sure that this is what God is calling for us to do. Surprisingly, he said to me first, though, he was like, I need to pray because I need to make sure it's not my flesh trying to come after you, but this is what God is saying I can have. So we went into prayer, and God was like, I'm giving you the green light. And at first I was like, God, it's got to be funny because I don't know what you're talking about, Jesus. But the one thing I love about God, because I am a criminal justice major, I was able to look at my husband's case, and I actually got started on doing some things for his case before I hired his attorney. So I made it real easy for his attorney to do what he needed to do. And so this is why he's coming home.
Wow, this is just intriguing. You talk about a book, Kadesha. This is another one.
Yeah, stay tuned for the book. We started the book, so stay tuned for the book.
Wow. I mean, as I'm listening, I'm just thinking, you're not the only one that is going through this, married to somebody who's incarcerated or in a relationship with somebody who's incarcerated. What words of encouragement could you give to somebody that may be going along a similar journey as you're on?
So I would tell them the main thing is prayer. You can't do anything without God. And we realize that we can't do anything without God. It is nobody but God that really keeps me together. Because, as Kadesha said, like I wear a lot of hats, I really do. And sometimes it gets overwhelming, but I've learned how to not allow my family to see me in those places. I'll have to go for a drive. I might go in my room, I'll shut off, and I get into God's presence. Like, I cry out, I'll be zapping out, and I'll be like, Jesus, I need you to fix it. I scream, yell, I do all of that. But when it comes to being before the people or being before my family, even being before my husband, I don't allow him to see me sweat, because if I start sweating, he's going to start sweating. And we've made a pact. If he's having a bad day, then I have to have a good day while he's having his bad day. And then if he's having a good day, I can have a bad day. But we can't allow the enemy to see both of us having a bad day at the same time, because then that gives way for the enemy to get in.
This is just, oh, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Like, I'm just so intrigued. I can't get off the word intrigued. But like you mentioned, making sure you two don't have the same bad day on the same day. Like, what are some tools? What are some of the things that you do to encourage him, while he's incarcerated, that other people can be able to draw from?
So we watched like a lot of people get released who, like my husband has an impeccable record. He's been locked up for 24 years. He has an impeccable record. But we're watching people that have like 17 infractions, which is like they cause things going on in the jail, and they've been released, and we're still waiting. And so when he has those moments, I say to him, listen, everything is done in God's time. I give him the scripture. Romans 8:28 says, all things work together for the good of them who love him and who's called according to his purpose. And so because we know that there's a purpose behind everything that God is doing, we have to be patient and wait, because really, what can we do? We can't move God any faster than what God is going to do. And it's all about timing. I really believe now that we've moved into the new home, doors are getting ready to start opening. So they're working on his case. We've got some good news in the last couple of weeks. So I know it's getting ready to happen. And I guess another thing that I can offer to people, if you're, dealing with someone who's incarcerated or even have a loved one, you have to keep them encouraged. We can't be selfish in this, because we're not the ones that's spending the time behind the bars. And I can honestly tell y'all, for me, what most people don't know is that, let's see, my daughter's 24. Over 24 years ago, I was locked up, and I was guilty. I had attempted murder charge, first-degree assault, deadly weapon. It was me. I did it, but it was nobody but God that dropped the charges, because I should still be sitting in prison. So it was nobody but God that dropped all of the charges from what had happened, and he released me from that. And so now, whatever I can do to be an encouragement to people, I try my best.
Come on now. You better go ahead and preach. He released you from that, okay? And you were guilty. That's a word all by itself, And so we hang nooses around people's neck. You know what I mean? We're harder on people than God is, and we're harder on ourselves, if we could just be totally honest, than God is. So that has really been liberating me lately, and I pray that people listening to you guys are being liberated, that we don't need to keep ourselves in bondage. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, yeah. Girl, you said a whole word. Like, you did it and he released you. You know what I mean? So it's like, if God can release us, we can release ourselves and we can release others. So I appreciate you being so open and honest. And I had the pleasure and privilege of speaking to your husband at one point. And so he is a humble man, and he is an excited man, honey. And you can't tell him his God ain't going to do something for him. So I appreciate, just getting to know you briefly and having that, brief conversation with him. And I just pray that somebody's watching and listening are encouraged. Like, even if you're not directly impacted, like, jewels will drop tonight that will encourage somebody. I'm telling you, just liberated me. I'm like, what? I'm liberated. I'm free, and I'm freer tonight just by listening to the two of you. So I appreciate it. We're gonna have you back for sure. Look, matter of fact, we're gonna have both of y'all on here when he get released. How about that?
Sounds good to me.
That sounds good. We appreciate you so much, Pastor Tanya. Thank you for stopping in, sharing your story. Tell us real quick how we can connect with your ministry for what you're doing with the Why Women Cry.
So we meet once a month. I normally post it on Facebook. We do it via Zoom. We do it via Zoom right now. But we're actually getting ready to do a meet and greet either the month of June or July. I haven't scheduled that yet, but it's definitely on Facebook. I have a Why Women Cry Facebook page, so you can reach out there. And then I also have the Healing Hands Deliverance Ministry page as well. So everything is posted on that, and even my personal page, which is Tanya Pastor Simpson, is posted on there as well. Okay.
All right. Well, we appreciate you. We love you much, and we look forward to having you and your husband back on the show.
Yes, I know he'll be excited, definitely. He was like, "Can I listen in tonight?" Like, how can I see it? I said, "I'll make sure we record it so that you can see it."
That's right. It's on YouTube and it'll be on our Facebook page. So you definitely absolutely can watch the replay and he can watch it with you.
Yes. Okay.
All right. Well, love you, my dear.
All right. Love y'all too. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Y'all be blessed.
You too.
All righty.
Well, ladies and gents, we have come to the end of a show. I don't know if you thought you was watching Lifetime, Netflix. No, you was watching When Wisdom Talk, honey. Okay? We was all the way in there tonight. I just wanted to leave with this because this is so important. Hebrews 13:3 says, continue to remember those in prison as if you were together with them in prison, and those who are mistreated as if you yourself were suffering. So just think about somebody. Pray for the ones that we talked about today. Pray for God to open up your eyes on how you can make a difference in your family and your community. We want these men and women to be released first mentally in their hearts and then prayerfully be physically liberated as well. So we hope that you enjoyed the show. I know Alisha. Alisha. I wish I could send up, put up an emoji, okay? Because I know the one with the popcorn. That was you, honey. You was into that thing. I love it. So we hope that you was into this. That you enjoyed it. We thank you for staying with us as we go past our time a little bit, but it was good. So looking forward to the future books. Looking forward to Pastor Simpson coming on here, honey. We got a lot to look forward to. So we will see you next Thursday, same time, same place, 8:00. In the meantime and in between time, stay safe, stay blessed, stay in faith, and as Pastor Tanya's reminded us, stay free. You release from that thing. Love it. Have a good night, y'all.
See ya.